MiWilderness again. Well, I was headed back to the car from picking autumn olives, and I found this elderberry bush that is just loaded with ripe elderberries. Really nice looking ones too. This is the kind of elderberry I find. I found red elderberry a couple times, but usually it's this common elderberry that I find. But this year, it's been really hard finding ones that weren't already ate up by the birds. But it looks like the birds have not quite gotten to this one yet. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest up a bunch of these. But this is a pretty cool plant. It's pretty abundant around here. When I was a little kid, my mom would make elderberry wine, and all my uncles would fight over who got it. Pretty cool though. It's a pretty good fruit. A lot of people say they taste rank, but I've ate the ripe berries and they're pretty good to me. I don't ever eat that many raw, and I spit the seeds out. I believe the seeds, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think the seeds contain some type of cyanide compound. I think I've heard the same thing about apples though, so I'm not really sure, but I just don't eat the seeds. I just suck the fruit out and spit out the seeds, and only eat them when they're ripe. The entire rest of the plant is toxic. The unripe berries are toxic. The stems, these little stems are toxic. The leaves, the branches, the roots, it's all toxic. But the ripe berries are good. And they'd probably make a good juice or a wine. I know they make good wine. But I'm gonna gather up a bunch and make some juice with them. See what they taste like when they're concentrated. So I'll let you go and pick a bunch of these. Hey, it's MiWilderness again. I had, I'm not sure, can't remember if I posted the video or not, but I found a nice ripe elderberry bush the other day and picked a bunch of elderberries. This is American elderberry, Sambucus canadensis, I believe is the Latin name. And I heard if you freeze these, the berries will come off easy and you don't get any of the stems in there, so I'm gonna see how that goes. I did a couple already. That seems to work pretty good. I don't know, it's kind of a slow process. I was under the impression from everything I read and stuff that once you froze these, the berries would pretty much just fall right off of there, but they don't really fall off. You still got to pull them. This is the first time I've done this, but I'm going to go ahead and strip all these elderberries off and see just what I have. Just see just what I ended up with. I filled one of those little plastic grocery bags about halfway full of the fruit heads, and I'm gonna see just how many berries that makes. When I'm finished, I'll show you. Well, hello there. No, this is not green bean. This is purple MiWilderness. Just about finished up stripping off all these elderberries, and I do think freezing them helps. The one thing I noticed is if they're froze, they don't squish up in your hands. So if you're doing a whole bunch, it's best to probably only pull out a few at a time. That way they stay nice and frozen, and they'll come off a lot easier. I didn't really seem to have any problems. I only got a few little stems in here as I went. Just kind of watched out for bird poop and stuff, bugs or whatever. The other nice thing about freezing them is if there were any bugs left, they're all dead because they're frozen solid. And like I said, I had about a half of a plastic grocery bag full of these fruit heads, and looks like I'm going to end up with just about, I don't know if that's 1 or 2 quarts. I think that's a 2-quart Tupperware bowl. So you could actually gather quite a few of these, and it doesn't take too long. I mean, to do this quart or 2 quarts or whatever it is, it took me about 50 minutes. A quart or a big Tupperware bowl an hour maybe. I'm sure you get faster as you get better at doing this. I'm sure there's somebody out there watching this that is probably experienced with it and is probably laughing right now, because they probably have a better process. But this is what it's all about, learning something new and finding better ways to do it as you go. But I think what I'm going to do is make these into juice. Hopefully I can get all the seeds out, because the seeds are quite small, and I'm pretty sure they're going to go right through my food mill. I'm going to have to come up with a way to try and get the seeds out. And then I'm going to take my hazelnuts and pound them up, and I'm going to take my fruit leather that I made with the autumn olives and cut it up into little bitty strips, little chunks. And I'm going to use this elderberry juice, the hazelnuts, and the autumn olive fruit leather to make trail energy bars for the trail. That's it right there. Whoop. All done. Just a couple little stems, and that's about it. They're actually fairly clean. Looking good. They smell good too. I did notice though that this bush, the birds hadn't got to this one, and the birds seem to have gotten to all the other elderberries I've found. And these ones did taste a little bit rank. I've never noticed that before. This is the first time I've ever ate a raw elderberry and had it have anything but a sweet, yummy taste. And I've only ate them as a trail nibble, and only a few at a time, like 5 or 10 or 20. And I always spit the seeds out. But since this is going to be concentrated, I'm going to kind of be careful how I use it at first. I want to see if, you know, if I drink a shot of this or a small glass of it, is it going to give me a stomach ache or what? I'm going to experiment with that and find out. But this is these are the stems from the berry clusters. That's about how many I had in that bag. The bag was about that full, and this is how many berries I ended up with pretty good amount. I mean, that feels, I don't know, maybe 2 pounds worth of berries, maybe 3. Yeah, probably 3 pounds. Pretty cool though. I'm impressed. I didn't think I would get that many berries from just that small little bag. But it's pretty neat. So that's it for the elderberries. I'm gonna go ahead and turn those into juice.